Yo. Everybody welcome in. Everybody welcome in. I'm your host, EB Sweatlot. This is This is 5minusTwo off hours episode 13. Everybody excuse me, man. I just got off of work, so we're gonna dive in. Today's episode, man, is what I learned from Gunna. Between him, the whole YSL Rico case, and I just got to salute to Gunna, because one thing I take and one thing I learned, and this is me speaking on myself, is just, man, being detached, being disciplined, detaching from all the distractions, the noise, social media, all the memes, people calling him a rat, and then just focusing on not only, good music, but his health. And he transformed himself, and it's a lesson that I tend to, I use to motivate myself, to transform myself, to become the better version of myself. And just seeing Gunna's transformation, just seeing him detach from all the naysayers, same people saying he's never gonna, make hit music again, and I'm never gonna look at Gunna, and he proved everybody wrong. And I gotta salute my hat, and that's one thing I have to add to my repertoire, add to my resume, my shield, being able to detach, being able to, stay focused, stay locked in. Mike Tyson always said that discipline is doing something you hate as if you love it. And, the reason that hits so hard is because even on days I don't feel like it, no matter what's going on, work, family, girlfriend, just things, outside of, my regular, just pull them in all directions, but still being able to cut the noise out and staying focused, staying dialed in. And, this is a lesson I take from Gunna, and I say salute, man, is just seeing your transformation, just seeing you that tunnel vision. That's something I gotta add, because I'm on my journey to becoming the best version, and hopefully you are too. Regardless of all that whole rat telling everybody snitching. I'm not from the streets, so to me, I don't come from that lifestyle. I'm what they call a civilian, but to me, in my personal opinion, the streets been dead. Everybody telling. So, this is like the kettle calling the pot black when the whole Young Thug leaked phone calls got leaked, and here you are, telling on other people on certain situations. And I'm not gonna dial that in, that's another video for another time. But I just gotta say salute to Gunna, man, because one thing I admire is the simple fact you stuck with it. You kept doing music, you changed for the better. I mean, man, you look completely different. You look healthy. You look in good spirits, and that's something that I don't want to say trying. That's something that I'm doing in my situation. Grind in silence. I don't always have to be seen. I could play the background, and that's kind of sucks because we live in today's society where everybody wants to be seen. Everybody want to be all up in the videos, all up in the comments. Everybody wants all the attention, but sometimes you got to play the background. Sometimes you can't be the performer. Sometimes you got to be the director, the manager, the creative director. Sometimes you got to be the hype man. Sometimes you got to be your manager. Sometimes you got to be the student. Sometimes you got to be the teacher. Sometimes you got to be the researcher. And I think that's something that we as people have to realize. We have to wear multiple hats when we're staying dialed in, because it's not going to be easy. I'll be the first one to tell you, a lot of, I wouldn't say the hate, but a lot of the disbelief comes from people, even in my own family. And I'm not going to say who or what, that's here nor there. But it's just saying it's always those that are close to you, co-workers, family members. I'm pretty sure you guys you guys are going through the same thing I'm going through too as well. But Gunna, I got to salute, man. Being able to detach, transform, grind in silence. It's something I got to do. I got a saying on my mirror. I say I can always be better and I can always improve. And it's every day, every way. It's just I can always be better, I can always improve. And using that to tie in the Gunna situation, that's what he did, man. Man ain't stopped, ain't miss a beat, man. Everything he's dropping is hidden. And that just lets you know, man, hard work, you know, talent can get you so far, but that hard work, man, staying determined, dedicated, disciplined. You know, that's something I need to add in my resume. But man, I'm not gonna hold you guys. I wanted to use Gunna as a lesson I learned in this whole Gunna, Thug, YSL, Atlanta situation, and just take key things that I learned from it. You know, being able to detach, being disciplined, being dedicated. It's not gonna be easy. No one said it's gonna be easy, but grinding in silence. I don't always need to be seen. But once again, I'm not gonna hold you guys. I want to thank you for tuning in to the 5minusTwo podcast. This is off hours, episode 13, and I'm gonna holler at you guys on the next one. Peace. So authentic, there's no sequel to things.